right, y'all, before we start, because some of y'all be tripping, under the advice of counsel, I got to add that the views, thoughts, opinions that are expressed on this podcast are mine and mine alone. They do not represent my employer. All right, let's go.
Because I was like, damn, do we really want to get into this discussion? Because if we get into this discussion right here, y'all.
All right, y'all, welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us for episode number 2. I think the other one was episode 0 and 1, so here we are with 2. Before we start, I wanted to say that today's episode is sponsored by Culinary Creations Steel Kitchen, located in Stafford, Texas. Shout out to them for sponsoring today's brunch and pod with my teacher friends. All right, let's get into it. The other day while scrolling on TikTok, I came across this video with Katie Couric, all right? And I think that was Katie Couric, I think one of them people. She was talking about coworkers and friends. So how important it was for you to be friends with your coworkers. So then there was a stitch of the video by a black lady that said, Black folks, this don't apply to you. So I want to say that folks in the comment section were agreeing and disagreeing. Some of the funny disagrees. Let's talk about some of the funny disagrees. Somebody said, yeah, that was for the blands because they switch up on you so fast. And then somebody else said, those are the biggest ops that you will ever meet in your life. Your coworkers are the biggest ops you'll ever meet in your life. Somebody else said, hey, nah, the friendship ends when the day ends. And then somebody else said, the red flag for a company is when they say we are family. That should be the biggest red flag for you. And then somebody else said, nah, that's just a way for administration. This is a teacher talking to find your weakness and attack. And I was like, damn, I've had some pretty messed up experiences as a teacher 20 years in with coworkers, but then I've also had some amazing ones. So some of the other comments that were disagreeing with her sentiment were saying, like, who is we? Because my coworkers are my family. The coworkers that have turned into friends look like me, and that's for us Black people. And I'm just trying to leave that here. And then the one that sat with me so much was not me and my coworker friends are minimum wage job, we trauma bonding over here for real. And so that's what I want to get in today. So that's my experience right now, guys. With the last 7 or 8 years of education, my coworkers have become my friends and my family. I can honestly say that the experiences I've had over those years have been some that have given me some lifelong friends. And they've been the most supportive of my endeavors, podcasting and with my social media career. Can I call it a career? And guess what? They are here today. Hey, y'all.
What up?
All right, so y'all, before we get into it, we just finished STAAR. How everybody feeling about STAAR?
I'm feeling good because all I have to do is sit by the restroom.
You one of them restroom monitors.
I am a monitor.
That nobody else gets to do.
I enjoy STAAR till they call me in and say, hey, we need you to go cover a class.
Because we got to pee.
Because not even that, because somebody didn't show up to work. So that's when I start to question my work friends. You didn't show up, you didn't let me know.
All right. What was some of the complaints we had about the way STAAR went this year? How do y'all feel about the STAAR, the redesign?
The everybody getting extra time is excessive because instead of having to end the test at, say, 2:30, and then the kids who get the extra time be removed and put into a different class, everybody just sat in the class until the bell rang, and I feel like that was miserable for the kids and the teachers.
What was the longest test day? What was the time the longest kid took? What am I trying to say? You know what I'm trying to say.
Math and reading, I believe.
What was reading? Reading, we were there all day.
Well, reading was all day because that was the first time that everybody did the whole everybody gets extra time, like all day. I think that was the first. I think that was the first time. And then the math, I think everybody knew what to expect, so
they were prepped well.
Surprises.
They were prepped well. Math.
Kids or adults?
That's the question.
We're prepped well. We knew what
We
we
knew.
were getting ourselves into.
This is big facts.
I think the computer thing for STAAR too is a whole different factor too.
Did y'all have errors? Man, we had so many like log us out. We had to give them a new session ID number.
I think it's just the computers
The computers that were on the campuses, like,
Yeah.
are they dated?
not working. Some are dated and some are new, so
I remember the days of no computers and watching some teachers have breakdowns when they bubbled in the wrong score thing, or they didn't do the modification. And then I've seen 2 or 3 teachers, they just took it to the teaching room or the testing room, and they were, I'm sorry, you got to go back with 35 of these booklets and erase. And they cried, dropped it, and left. So
I'm glad I wasn't in education then.
oh yeah, it was
that was some time.
barcodes, testing, modification, score, don't do it. And so when I had to practice doing a computer test, I didn't mind it, but I wasn't in the computer room. I mean, I wasn't in the room testing this year, so good through practice.
I don't mind the online testing, but I think at some point something has got to be written. Like everything is online. Like when those kids had to write the essay and didn't even realize that it was an essay
That was torture.
in the middle of the test was a bit much. I believe that the essay part should still be written. Because at that point, are we really checking for spelling? Because I can just look up this word and make sure my words are here. You know, I can make sure that my dictionary is right there on my test, so I can spell everything I need to spell. So I just think that some parts still need to be online, written.
Are these lockdown browsers? Because I heard another teacher friend that said they were walking by, just, actively monitoring, and a kid had some headphones on listening to music. I thought the browsers were locked down for STAAR. How was he able to access YouTube and listen to some raw wave while he was taking the STAAR test? How that happen?
Listen to somebody read.
Well, he was supposed to be listening to somebody read to him. He was supposed to be listening to his text features, but I think he found a way to go around his system and listen to some music. How in the hell does that happen?
His commendation definitely said he could be read to, but he was definitely listening to music.
Innovative, I like it.
Yes, it was quite
He was being
interesting.
read to.
He was being read to,
Definitely.
and he was being sued. All right, so y'all, on my sister's Facebook page, she gonna kill me for saying this, but on my sister's Facebook page, I think my sister made a comment about opting out. I think I made a video about it too, like for all these people in these Facebook groups, these conservative mom groups that say, I'm opting out of STAAR testing, my kid's not taking STAAR, or I'm opting out of House Bill 4545. And so with so many people, and especially us, in the comment section, like, I opted my third grader out. And I'm like, I'm so tired of telling people that that's not a thing when it comes to STAAR testing. Just because you keep your kid at home for the day is not them opting out. One way or another, Big Daddy TEA is going to get that data, whether it be in a beginning of the year test, a makeup test, or some kind of way. How do y'all feel about STAAR and the option to opt out?
Wait, before we answer that, is that allowed in high school or no? Because you got to pass so many tests.
That is definitely not allowed. But you have these people in these Facebook groups. There's one, I ain't gonna say the name of the group, but that all the parents go, they have these forms, these docs, and say, oh, just print this out and use your name and take this to your principal. And your principal knows this because our group is full of education lawyers and da-da-da-da. And it's like, girl, don't bring that shit up here. Like, that's laughable.
Is that an option for private school, or do they not have to take the STAAR? How does that work for them?
Private school
does
not.
All right.
I don't think.
So
I
we
think
I
they
think they
take
have to do
Stanford.
EOCs though. In private school and high school, they have to do it. Like,
Is it STAAR or is it their
I think
own version of
it's
the
their own
EOC?
version
Yeah.
of
They have to
EOCs.
test into private high school as well, and then you have tests at each level, but it's on a completely different grading system than in
Then
public school.
STAAR.
So is there a form? Has TEA put out a opt-out form?
TEA has not put out an opt-out form. TEA will specifically tell you there's no way you could opt out. Graduation requirements for high school say. Now, I think that is a way that you can replace like your SAT, ACT, and TSI testing for those kids that are in dual credit, but you still have to sit for the test. You can't just walk up and say, I ain't taking a test at all, and without entering your TSDS ID number. They need to get some kind of say, like, you sat down, you took the test, you failed the test, and because I can't graduate, well, let me replace this English ELC 1 with ACT or SAT. But what I'm reading on TEA, and some of my high school people in here can help me out with that, you can't replace ELC English 1 and English 2 with the same test. You can say, I took SAT, I'm going to use this SAT score to replace my English ELC 1, and then I'm going to use the ACT score to replace my English ELC 2 after I've sat for the test and I'm not successful on it.
But my thing is, what are you afraid of? Like, what's the point of the opting out? Like, can I opt out of my Verizon phone bill? Can
No.
I opt out of my testing I need to be certified? Can I opt out of any other college life? Can I opt out of this interview and get this job and get this bag? Like, what is the purpose? Like, what are you afraid of on the opting out? You can opt out of caring about the score. I mean, like, the score is what the score is. It doesn't matter.
I think I hear a lot of parents say, I don't want to stress my child. But at what point are you preparing your child for life? If I'm not giving them a test now, what happens when the tests come that you cannot do for them, as far as, no, you didn't get this job, no, you didn't get into this college, no, you didn't, get whatever, because you're not really preparing them how to adjust in life when a test does arise.
But from my perspective, there are parents who come into the meetings for accommodations saying, well, yes, these kids can get accommodations in the real world with this impairment. Like, a parent has truly come into a meeting and said, this child can get this accommodation in the real world.
I'm about to go apply.
So, but I just think with mental health right now, I think that parents are just saying, I don't want this stress on my kid. It doesn't measure their success. It doesn't measure them as a person. And I think that they're thinking that the STAAR is putting their kid on a certain level. And we know that we have the highest of high taking a STAAR that's below their level. And we have kids who are way below the STAAR test that they're taking. But I do think that there needs to be a level of measure every year just to see where the kid is. Mm-hmm. So do I think that we should let kids opt out of the STAAR? Absolutely not. You can't opt out of STAAR because the next day when you come to school, you're going to take the test. So that's what it is.
I think we also act like the bar is high, set high for the STAAR test. The bar is extremely low. So I know, like, for the algebra ELC, out of like 60 questions, you need to get like 22 right.
Mm-hmm. Please, Lord.
So with a lot of these tests, you need to get like 40% right just to move on. So why are we stressing out about such a low bar? That confuses me at times.
I don't think the bar is common knowledge. Like, the number of kids and parents who say, okay, well, what do I need to score to pass? Like, they have no idea that it's not a 70, it's a 40, sometimes below a 40. Mm-hmm. And not to mention the bar changes every year per the number of questions on the test, so we don't even have an exact answer. And then with the new item types, you don't know how they're being weighted. You don't know, exactly what TEA is going to do with things like that. And so the lack of clarity can cause concern for students and parents. Shoot, and teachers too.
And teachers. What about, let's talk about the written part, the short constructed response, extended constructed response. How do y'all feel about that? Like, I know science was kind of crazy, watching those kids like try to peck away at the computer for the questions that they were being asked. Now, I ain't look at the questions because I know I'm supposed to be actively monitoring. Am I supposed to be looking at the questions?
No.
Okay, great. I did not look at the questions. I don't know. I just saw them over there struggling, and I was confusion. So, what kind of questions are there for science as far as the written short? Because do y'all have short constructed and extended constructed, or just short?
We have like single word fill in the blanks,
right?
And drag and drop. There's different item types for science. There's drag and drops. There's hot spots. There's short constructed, which is like a single word, and then there's the longer constructed, which is like sentences or paragraphs or novels, depending who you ask.
Because our short constructed is like a basic answer the question, make sure you have a thesis statement, improve your answer, get in, get out. And then extended is like a whole damn essay. Well, should be.
It should have been.
Should have been. But I was like looking as I was actively monitoring, and I was like, damn, that shit looking a little short constructed response.
Yeah.
Horrible. Extended respect, but
Because on the paper test, they have a certain number of lines. They know, I think I should probably fill up most of these lines. But the box is the same size for one word versus one page.
I think what throws them off, too, is that I know when we did the practice test, it said, when we had to extend it, it said maximum 3,700 words. And the kids was like, oh, hell nah. I ain't doing that.
I think this year was like 2,300 characters. And so spaces, punctuation, all that counts. So you had some children who would come back to me and say, I tried to write my 5 paragraphs, but it cut me off, because they thought that they had 2,300 words and it was 2,300 characters. And my thing is, that's perfectly fine, but when you ask in the directions from what I was told, because I didn't see this, be sure to provide your thesis statement, be sure to provide your text evidence, here's our question, here's our prompt, they're looking for the old school way of, here's your prompt, blah, 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 here are your lines. And it goes back to what was previously said about, how are we measuring these kids, does it matter, does this, but my thing is, how are they able to actually, I don't want to say adjust, but actually understand what's being asked of them. I can ask you what color the apple is 4 different ways, but if you're looking for me to say, tell me what color the apple is, am I really preparing you if you're not really knowing how to go out and to make your own assessments and adjustments?
All right, that makes sense. What was the shortest time y'all had of a kid to open their test?
23 minutes
20
at time.
23 minutes before they clicked it and went to sleep. What about the people who just, after you read the directions, went straight to sleep without even attempting? What's the time on that?
5 minutes in.
5 minutes in.
5 minutes.
We sleep. Do y'all let them sleep?
Yes.
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Why?
Absolutely. Because that test, you're going to be there all day anyways, and especially for students who struggle with attention, whatever you need to make sure that test is getting done, I have to sit here regardless. So I said that I before anything happens, I tell my students, y'all can sleep if that's what you need to do, but there is a limit. Once you hit that little 10, 15 minutes, tap, tap, it's time for you to get up. And whenever you feel like you need to sleep again, you got 10, 15 minutes, tap, tap. After about 3 naps, you've capped out, but whatever you need to make sure that you're at full capacity, because when you have a 60-question test, sitting there for 60 questions is not something that you ever do. Ever. And so if you get to question 40 and you're
Wait, how did you get certified then?
Well, I'm talking about previously before you take that STAAR test,
Okay.
right? That's something that you grow
Right.
into in life. And so whenever you get to question 40, if you reading these words 10, 15 times and it is not making sense, what's the point of staying awake? Why does it matter? Take you a nap.
Wouldn't it be crazy to have some people was actually sleeping during the teacher's test?
Ain't no way.
Like,
Ain't no way.
But aren't these kids? I think a lot of times that we go, well, they should do this, and I'm like, do you remember 13? You didn't have a phone, you didn't have TikTok, you didn't have social media, and my attention span is already all over the place. So
Yes.
when I work certain events where there's music played, they want like 50 songs in 30 minutes. I'm like, that's a lot of music being played, but they know 20 seconds of a song. They'll know songs we grew up 20 years ago because that's how fast they're moving. So, I mean, I know we don't teach for the test, but we at least do a little running. And
We teach them for the test.
y'all teach for the test?
Man, we better. You want that observation?
Well, what I mean is,
evaluation.
we do a what? We do a CBA, what do we call them? An interim, and then we go to do a STAAR, but they're not taking an hour, 2-3 hour test every 3 weeks.
No.
So we're still using old school methods
Yeah.
to test.
Y'all make me feel bad because I wake their asses up. Because I'm like, I ain't sitting here. I know I got to sit here, but I ain't sitting here. And it's always like that one kid that want to take a nap, and then everybody is done, and now it's 2:30, and we waiting on you, and I'm looking at the screen, it say 37%. Hell no, we can't do this. So next time, hey, you have to go to sleep the night before and figure it out because it's unfair.
I'm not asleep right off the bat, but I will give you a mental break from that computer, staring at that computer screen. So after the first hour and a half, if you need to like move that screen away from your eyes, I'm with it. I'm okay with that.
Okay.
But not right off the bat. No, sit up.
That
sit
makes
up.
sense.
And mama just fed you. Get up.
We had a
breakfast
kid.
in you. Let's
They
go.
make sense. They make sense.
We had a kid who the teacher woke him up and he said he looked up at her and said, "Don't you see I'm trying to sleep?"
Oh. Then what do you do with that?
Call admin.
Okay, I'm so glad you mentioned that because
Call admin.
let's jump into this. Man, it's been a crazy week or two with these disrespectful kids and violence among staff. I wanted to jump into the Westfield assistant principal incident because I got some confidential information that I was told to share. But then the pepper spray video started going crazy yesterday on social media. And I was like, I got to talk to my teacher friends about this because I know each one of y'all, and I know how each one of y'all would have handled that situation. And I think we all probably like would have been
Jail.
it would have been like, hey, in the group text, hey, who got 100 on such and such bond? Who got 100 on it? Because that shit was crazy. But that story, when I saw the first video, so here's what I'm getting from the backstory of that video, right? So they're in class taking a test, and girl, the young lady that pepper sprayed her teacher had her phone out Googling the answers to the test. So I'm assuming, or what it looks like, the teacher snatched the phone away from her. She pepper sprays dude in the class first before they even step outside.
Wow.
So she pepper sprays him, and then I guess he goes outside to do, all the flailing or whatever on the floor. And she's like, give me my phone. But she real chill, like she's not acting and spazzing. She's like, give me my phone. I need my phone. I need my phone. Need my phone.
No, she got away.
And so, like, she tries to grab it, and she sprays him again. Like, girl. But everybody, I don't even know how I would respond to that. What got me the most about that video, though, of course, her pepper spraying his ass, but the kids recording, and it was one little dude in the background just laughing.
Extreme, yeah.
I was like, oh,
It's
first of
always
all,
one.
why is your ass not in class? Like, what y'all think about that?
First of all, I can't be around pepper spray, whether I'm being pepper sprayed or in the general vicinity, because your eyes start burning. So I have no idea how those kids were sitting there recording and not screaming because their eyes were probably burning. That's one.
I didn't like how the adults who came to her afterwards came to almost console her while this man is on this floor burning with burning eyes. He's like, "Are you going somewhere? Do you need it right now?" Type situation. Like, are y'all?
And he on the floor in
He's
distress.
on the floor screaming.
Well, he may not have any work friends if they're going to the student. If you're going, that's the take it back to the front. Well, I think about it. We know that's not their first interaction because most videos we see when it gets to this point, and it's May. I saw a video of a woman, an older young lady, on my IHD. She's like, "I'm done." She's been teaching for like 30. She walked out. That wasn't her first interaction with them kids. But we know what administration or anybody would say. They would say, "Hey, don't forget, you are the adult." So no matter what we say, what we do, because, you know, I've taken phones, I've taken many things, and then sometimes you go, you know what, man, just keep it, get a 0, or bring it up if you don't want to, just leave the class. But easier said than done, because like I said, ask anybody on that campus, how many interactions have they had? I don't think that's their first interaction. I could be wrong, but I bet $20 is not. But I'm like this, hey, I'm not going to jail, lose my little job, can't pay the bills, need to pay because you want to keep your phone. I can just give it a 0. If you're disrespectful, get out. You can go cheat outside, you can leave. Once again, I have been angry. Some people have seen it, so it's easier said than done.
It is. So, again, what I'm reading backstory, this is this teacher's second time being assaulted by a student behind a cell phone, behind him taking a cell phone.
Oh, wow.
The first time, allegedly, in March, he was punched in the face by a student whose phone he took. And so I was like, damn, it's a lot of things going on. Like, are you like effing with these kids? Is it something about you that these kids feel like you're an easy target to bully and mess with? But it's something weird that's the hill you willing to die on.
I don't believe he's capturing kids' hearts. Because if he has the relationship with the student,
If he does the handshake at the door.
if he doesn't, I mean, it sounds corny. I thought it was corny. We in there crying when you get the training, but you know, person to my left will know. Hey, that's a kid licking the wall. He coming to you. You know why he coming to you? Hey, this kid don't like me. He only want to talk to somebody with braids. He coming to you. Hey, just go outside, go by the window, watch what we teaching from the window. But I mean, something's going on. And he likes his job because he didn't got punched and sprayed. He gonna be back next year, I guarantee. He signed the contract.
Let's be 100. Would she have pepper sprayed a woman?
A
See,
black
she did
woman.
that
What about
to
a
she
black
did that
teacher?
to a teacher who was a male who she knew wouldn't be, you know, so quick to react to put her hands on her. Because I can assure, I can
would've put them
tell
hands
you,
on her?
Shake, rattle, and roll. It's on. It's on. We on our way. We on. Let me tell you something.
Hold on. I'm so sorry. Ma'am, could you bring that bottle over here, please, so we can just go ahead and do it.
Of
Again, shout out
water.
to Culinary Creations Still Kitchen for sponsoring today's brunching pod. We tore that food up.
Yeah, no,
Sorry.
but honestly, it's only like you say. Yes, you do have to build relationships with people. I get it wholeheartedly. We build relationships at work, right? Not just with each other, but with our children. But at some point, somebody still got to be the authority in the classroom, and I can't be fearful of what somebody may be going through that day or emotional moments type situation. I can't focus when there's a bottle at the table.
Baby, you better get the focus on
sorry.
shit. My damn peppermint was in this bottle, was in this cup.
And to go back to your previous point about we're the adults, we're this, we're that. We are, but we're also human. And we all have somebody waiting for us at home. And we all have somewhere to be or, you know, something to support us. We get that wholeheartedly. But I tell my kids in a minute, 2 degrees over here, neither one of them got nothing to do with education. I will have a job after I finish fighting you. I will fight you and go home. And I won't think twice.
That's fine. So, y'all take phones? Do y'all take phones?
So the thing about the phones,
All right.
I will take your phone. I'm not a person to turn in your phone,
Me
but
either.
I'm never a snatch. I believe in mutual respect between kids and adults. All the kids really want is to feel like somebody respect them. But I will tell them, let them know that I'm top dog. So
Right.
either way is going to go down that way. But I'm not going to just snatch it. If I've already had conflict with a phone, I've already got punched in the face, best believe I'm not touching your phone. But guess what? You're just going to get that 0, and it's going to get a little note. And I might let you finish Googling the answers and make you feel like you won. And then when you got that grade in,
Take it up with your mama.
There you go. Take it up with your
Take it
mammy.
up with your mama. So what are, I'm going to ask you, because you see conflict every single day in the position that you have. Are there times where teachers what's the word I'm trying to use? I'm trying to be politically correct because my teacher fans be tripping about the words I use.
Antagonize.
There we go. I wasn't trying to say it, but you said it. There we go. Are there times where you've seen teachers antagonize students and it go there, it get there?
Absolutely.
I think there are some teachers who really shouldn't be in the classroom, or there's teachers who are tired. Like, everybody's tired at this point, but I think that at some point it's time to realize that this isn't the profession for you. This isn't the grade level for you. This may not be the school for you, and you need to find something else.
Okay.
Because just like you're somebody's wife, husband, whatever, this is somebody's child. But on the other hand, what's going on at home where these kids think that they could talk to me any type of way, that I don't have the authority in the classroom.
And put hands on you. That's what's driving me.
Sometimes it's more about what's going on at home in the teacher's life to where you feel like you need to have a power struggle with a child. I'm not about to struggle with a child. You a kid, and it is what it is. And I'm always going to outsmart you. So I'm not going to war back and forth with you to have a power struggle. And that's where you see that antagonistic behavior is like, maybe you don't have that power at your house, so you come to have it here at work. There are those instances, but I find that those are fewer than the masses, I guess, than most situations.
That's when you need a good work family.
You do need a good work family.
It all goes back to the beginning. I mean, you
Always.
can step outside your door and go, like how y'all have, wherever.
And
y'all
especially when dealing with difficult kids, you can send them
down the road.
to their mamas.
Yes. That's the
true.
thing. We
That's
always
true.
the mamas.
They got pappies too.
They do.
They school
Because
mamas.
y'all are some.
Well, we are.
We
but
know because sometimes they only want to talk to you, or they only want. We know this one don't leave work on Fridays because it's a million children at the door waiting to tell him all
Doing
they
his conference time and everything.
In his
Math
lunchtime,
happy hour.
Math happy hour.
I drive by, I say, man, look at that. I say, wow, I need to rethink what I'm doing.
This is him. But I think the work family thing is important, especially when you have children that attend the school where you work. I think that's been probably the most difficult, and because my child stay in your office. But I think that's probably been one of the most difficult things with me this year and last year, trying to maintain my professionalism as a colleague with people who I know, like, it's time for you to hang it up. You this is not for you. And so having somebody that can go speak on your behalf so that you're not taken as the aggressive Black woman is very beneficial. Or having you just pop off an email real quick to say, hey, this is what it is, this is what it's not. Because the way you said is going to come off better than the way I said. And I think what she was saying about the snatching the phone, kind of like snatching a hoodie. My kid had an incident at the beginning of this year. Wasn't supposed to have your hoodie on your head. That's the rule. But she was just like, oh, my hair wasn't done. I'm like, the rule is the rule. And one of the teachers on her schedule just walked behind her and snatched her hoodie off her head and kind of like pulled her hair with it. And so
Going home for the rest of the day.
And so my child, being the child she is, being my child, says, I don't think my mama would have liked you doing that. And I'm like, oh, Lord. Oh, God, here we go. Because this is the same child that told the AP with this same teacher, I got First Amendment rights. You can't tell me when to talk. And I'm like, I'm going to be unemployed, fooling around with her. But when I have a y'all to say, you chill, I go handle this. It makes it better because you had to go battle.
I will, and I will continue to battle, and I will continue to do so.
You had to go battle, so that works. What y'all think about the Westfield High School assistant principal? The trampling on the floor, the two kids fighting. She came and broke it up, and they turned on her.
I'm not.
I don't break up any
I'm not.
fights.
I'm not.
Y'all's motherly or parental instinct doesn't kick in sometimes if a kid is like getting their ass whooped. You don't feel like.
There's a difference from a man's perspective and a woman's.
Okay, let's hear the perspective.
As a man, you at some point in time you're gonna have to get in the middle of it.
We saw that last week.
Oh, but what happens when you see it last week? What happened? So what? Okay, let's go to that
Man up and
incident.
take them bink
He
binks.
said sorry.
Let's,
said sorry.
I don't care if you say sorry, but like, what in the moment when you are breaking up a fight and the kid don't realize that it's the adult in the middle and not the kid anymore, and you take two to the face.
Not fair.
You're as a man, like, are you realizing in that moment that that's a kid that just binged you to the face 2 times, or are you just like, nah, I'm a man. Let me spank your little ass over. Just like, what do you do?
You got 30 phones facing you. So
What do you do? Are you thinking about the phones at that
have to.
moment?
Well, my thing is this: I've never broken up a fight on the floor. I've always broken up a fight
Standing.
standing, grabbing someone from the back, and like, yo, it's coach. Like, yo, chill. And then that kind of right there, they kind of get out that zone and it shuts it down. But I'm not getting. Well, I'm not breaking up females fighting. I'm not touching
Absolutely.
any females.
I can
hands down. Hey, they just got they got 3 minutes like an octagon. and if I it's a certain. I mean, I'm not whatever that kind of restraint training. I'm not that trained, but I can see. I'm not that, but I can put you in
Are any of y'all CPI
a
trained?
Negro karate chokehold to get you out.
No.
I'm sorry.
Again,
I think you should
do
be.
not break up.
But I know, but I think because of your position, shouldn't you be CPI trained?
No,
Why?
ma'am.
That's crazy.
I'm gonna tear that radio down. That's it. I do not break up fights.
It's weird that you say that. Like, I break up boys' fights, but I won't break up girls. But again, I'm saying who I am because I come from a tough school in another district, and I don't know if I can say tough school in another district, and the guys were much bigger than me. They had more tattoos than me. They had more children than I did.
Wait,
Like,
this was middle school.
This is middle school. They had a parole officer come and visit them. All that
They
great
be
stuff.
fine, too, though.
But I clearly would say something like you said. I would let them know who I am. And again, they're standing up. So by the time I done pushed one of the other one away, they see that I'm in the middle of them. They won't touch me. But when it comes to girls, absolutely not. But it's so funny because coaching them, I can get in the girl's face so quick, but I will not in the hallway. It just won't, some things just won't happen because they are really, it's like watching 7th grade basketball. Them girls are just filing all over. That's how it is when the fight, I just can't.
Do you remember, was it like 2 or 3 years ago, we all had duty in the morning together. And it was
when you got flipped over?
Please. Hell no.
No, she ran right through that.
No, but there was a fight that happened in the hallway. And this one steps out the door. He comes in, hey, y'all. Like, it's 2 girls. He say, hey, y'all, they out here fighting. He was so calm, but it was like chaos in the hallway. So we go, and they going at it. They going at it. I'm like, damn, the camera right there. Shit, like, what do I do? So I like try to go hurry up and just grab, like you said, broke my damn 2 nails.
That's what happened.
2 nails. I was pissed. And when girls go. Girls can't. You can't calm them down. Like a boy, you could walk up and say, hey, this me. But them girls, they on 10. And even then grabbing, as a woman, grabbing a young lady, I'm still very, like, I don't like it. Because, and we know how it goes. When some shit happened with the school district, your ass gonna go under the bus, rolled over twice. It does not matter. They gonna protect themselves. So I could be breaking up a fight because you beating somebody's head in, and you could easily go say, well, she touched me. She touched here, she touched there. What am I gonna say? They got me on camera restraining you or trying to keep you from fighting. And so hopefully you have a what?
A supportive system.
Girl, bye. So when you do that, remember, you can always have, they could be as supportive as they want to be in your face, but when shit go down and it's they ass or yours, who ass you think is under the bus? Yours, not theirs.
Well, it depends on your work family.
Work family.
I mean, it sounds funny, but, stuff has happened. People make you privy to it, Even one time, supposedly, I heard a story about a person who pushed a kid in the hallway, and when the parent came in to look for the camera and look at the footage, the camera didn't record that day. So once again, work footage. I mean, work family works for you if you have a good.
If you got a good.
And there are certain emotional protections provided by the state if you know those rules, and it's the gamble you shoot. Do you react on emotion and you go try to stop 2 students from doing what they do, or you go, I don't want to stop those 2 students and I'm gonna just let it happen, and hopefully somebody else with a walkie-talkie come in and do what they need to do, or just have 5 people on campus trained to restrain fights.
It's like damned if you do, damned if you don't, though, right? Like if I break it up, I'm gonna be in trouble possibly. If I don't break it up, I'm gonna be in trouble possibly. So it's a very tough situation to be in, but
Do you recall anybody offering that training though?
So I'm and I shouldn't say it because I always say y'all didn't train me, so I'm not trained. But
I've
I'm
been in the
previously
district
trained.
for 10 years.
That's
Never
interesting.
once.
Y'all governor trying to give y'all guns.
I'm good on that.
With a pay raise.
25K. You good for walking around with a gun?
If he
Hell
give me
no, you don't
10,000,
need
I'll
a
punch a kid for him though.
You do not need a gun. I don't care. Some people don't need
Because I would pistol whip
a
somebody
gun.
real quick.
No, you-
I'm not sweating a teacher
No.
necessarily carrying a gun. I'm more, that's not true. I'm about 50-50, teacher and kid. So we act like, okay, if such and such across the table here has a gun, no kid is going to reach for it at some
But
point.
this is why I'm against that because
Exactly.
I'm definitely against it.
because
definitely.
you have scary cops and law enforcement.
There you
who
go.
go for that gun immediately.
There you go.
You're gonna have scary teachers when you have a 6'4" kid coming at them. The first thing they're gonna do is grab the gun.
Yeah.
You know, think about at the previous at the place you work at, and I don't know if that person is still there, but there's a person that comes to my mind. I won't want that person having no gun, man.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
There are
Not at
several-
all. Not
There
at
are
all.
several people
You
there
know?
that I would not want having a gun.
We don't need no guns. I have a sock
You have
and some canned goods.
and some pennies. But so speaking of video footage, so back to the Westfield High School assistant principal. I meant to send y'all the statement that came out afterwards, but somebody very, very close to the incident messaged me and was showing me or talking to me about a lot of things that were going on behind the scenes with that assistant principal that the public was not made privy to. And one thing that I thought was crazy, and we know as teachers, it doesn't surprise us, but the kid that they were able to capture on video footage, because apparently the video footage wasn't clear, but we're gonna talk about that in a second. The kid that they were able to capture on video footage, who they gave the felony charge to, is back on campus. He was back on campus, or they were back on campus real quick. And just left to deal with the judicial process and deal with the student code of conduct. But that kid is back on campus. Something else that was mentioned in that statement was that the superintendent put out was that they weren't able to discipline everybody because the video footage was not clear. And I was like, that sounds like some bullshit, because even though Westfield High School has been around forever, this is the new Westfield, like a reopened, remodeled, reconstructed Westfield. Them cameras can see who's gonna be the next president. Like, you're not about to lie, but it goes back to, like you said earlier, what can school districts and school administrators say to parents and have them believe when we all know that that's not true? We know damn good well you could see the color shirt the kid had on, you could see the color drawers the kid had on through those cameras. So to tell a person, I think it's ultimately insulting to tell an administrator that when the administrator is the one that looks at the cameras and knows. So I think, like, are y'all buying time to get y'all story together? I know FERPA comes into play, because if I see this kid, I can't identify or show you footage that identifies other kids as well. But that's some bullshit. I feel like
Schools have reps.
Yeah.
And anybody who's close to anybody sometimes there's certain rules about how many kids you need to send to alternative school. And sometimes you don't want to be the school sending everybody to alternative school. Because we know there are definitely things that happen on campuses that when you look, you go, how is this person still on campus? And we know for a fact, video included, that these things happen. And then
Can we say what it is?
Nah, I'm not.
We're not gonna say.
I'm not
Well,
gonna say.
Well, I can say it because it's my show.
Did you say
It's
what?
race. It's race. I'm sorry, because we have.
And she not talking about the 400 meters.
Shut up. It's been some previous incidents that have occurred within the last monthish or so.
I can say that could be true. I know
Okay.
incidents of other people who are lotion users. You know who you are. You are of a certain hue, and when that made it to where it made it, they were told, "Hey, this kid is still going to be on campus."
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm not going to say sometimes. A number of times administrators may send it up the pipeline to where it should go, and we all know that you can say the word, it rolls back downhill. So, I mean, it really just depends. How bad are you fighting for it? Does that want to be sent up to the top? Do we want that to reflect our school? And who knows what else has happened that nobody knows about?
Yeah.
I also think that districts are super reactive instead of proactive with everything from top to bottom. So when a certain thing happens, there weren't protocols and things in place for it to be even across the board. And so because there was nothing there, then we have to go to the extreme with this particular student or this particular situation when it should have been even across the board from a student at the beginning of the school year. But now we're in May and this kid is getting this extreme punishment. But it's because they're being reactive.
Yeah. So something else as far as covering the district and covering their asses. When they put out these statements, and I always say they use these damn templates, right? That all sound so bland and so without a heart. So the statement that was put out by the superintendent of Spring ISD, what's the school district again? Anyway, one of them ISDs up north that we don't fool with. But when they put the statement out, the superintendent said the administrator is at home, the staff member is at home recovering. So it makes it seem to everybody like, oh, she just had a little bump on the head and we were all, administration was there quickly to help her and they weren't. I'm like, damn, we see the video. Everybody sees the video. And the video footage from these people's cell phones are clear as hell. So you can't tell me that the footage from the front office is not clear as hell. But you're saying she's at home recovering. This lady, and I don't know if y'all saw the full video. I cut some of it off on my social media where showed her seizing. And they're like, that's when y'all came to her aid when she started seizing. But later she took that beating before y'all came to help her. And the kids barricaded the hall. They blocked everybody from helping. And you hear somebody in the background on the recording saying, hey, don't none of y'all help though. Don't none of y'all help y'all. Then you hear some other kids in the background saying, man, kick that hoe, kick that hoe. Not me, y'all, not them, would raise these kids. There's something wrong with the programming, the wiring. Because what kind of kid is sitting there telling the other kids to beat this woman and you're doing it? And from what I hear, I told you I'm friends with the former the former principal of Westfield High School who got removed last year on some bullshit. Some dude tried to check him and he got with his ass, and then because somebody was recording it, it went out and then he had to be, removed. But damn, y'all want us to do our job or not? What do you do? But this lady apparently was very well loved by staff and students. So for them to just turn on her like that, and it was almost like y'all read Lord of the Flies. Did y'all have to read Lord of the Flies in high school?
Yes.
It was they pulled like a Lord of the Flies. That shit was so crazy to watch. And to see them say, oh, she's at home recovering now. But knowing in the background that they're really talking to the person that I've been talking to, they're really not trying to help her. They're really trying to say, nobody told you to jump in. Nobody told you to break that fight up. And that's what districts will do. And I don't think the public understands that when they say, oh, teachers should do this, teachers should do that. Nah,
And
baby, that's why I'm not.
See, now when I said I don't break up,
I understand.
hello.
I understand.
Break up fights because you be on your own. The thing is that the district has their own legal department.
Mm-hmm.
Schools
The district
are
does,
sued.
not us.
Yeah.
Yes. They're going to get sued. So they'll have somebody draft up their statement to where that they have the least financial burden at the end of the day. So all those statements are drafted by their attorney or reviewed by their attorney. So they're always going to look, bland and vanilla. But again, back where I don't break up fights, you can judge your mama. Because guess what? If I get hurt, I'm going to be hurt on my own, dealing with my situation. Like we have a friend who tried to go after the gun. She was called on the radio, going out there. Her fingers are forever crooked. Okay, so then
So she a gang member for life.
Gang member for life. And guess what the district gonna do for you?
Nothing.
There's workers' comp.
No, okay.
That's for life.
I'm glad you said that.
That's actually for life.
But I bet you still better show back to work on Monday. So
If that's your choice, I will say this: what organization? I'm not defending anyone. I'm just saying what organization doesn't protect itself.
Absolutely.
I said it in a jury
And
the
I
other
am the
day.
organization that protects myself.
There you go.
There you go.
And they ask you a lot of yes or no questions and void however you say it. So
Have y'all ever had to deal with workman's comp before?
Yeah.
Okay, I have too, and I have had to deal with workman's comp from breaking up a fight. I was in South Park, Albert Thomas Middle School, and we had them old air conditioning units in the classrooms, right? Had them old air conditioning units in the classroom, and there's two girls fighting next door. So I was hearing ruckus in my classroom, so I went next door. A male teacher, he was sitting at the desk I ain't touching them. So I'm like, what the hell you mean you're not? So I'm going over there, dummy me, young teacher me, and I'm trying to break apart because one of the girls had the girl head banging it into the air conditioner. So what do you do? I'm gonna sit there and let you get a girl a damn concussion? I'm trying to break them apart, and some kind of way, I hurt my wrist, and my wrist was swollen as hell. So my principal sent me home and told me I need to go, whatever. You know, workman's comp called me. They didn't say, "Are you okay?" They said, first question was, of course, what happened, and then the second question was, what could you have done to prevent your injury?
Got another occupation.
I was like, damn. They were really like they are gonna do all they can do to avoid that. Just like the Abby Z, the teacher that was shot by the 6-year-old in Virginia. They're telling her, "Nah, that's not on us. You can go take up with workman's comp." Like, what? Y'all let this little kid, y'all didn't check him, y'all didn't do your due diligence.
Settle out of court.
Settle out of
Get you a good attorney. Settle out of court.
Especially because that's the woman who reported it the day before.
And the day of.
Yeah.
You're always gonna put it on somebody else, but there's money to be made. If you get hurt, sue, get you a good attorney. Hopefully your state laws allow it. Texas is a great state for
My
suing.
thing is, I want Texas to put our what they want us to be accountable for, and I need my pay to equal it. So talk to me when you raise my pay. Then I'll think about breaking up a fight, being on time to work. You know, little stuff.
It'd be 8:30. We'd be like, damn, bitch, we supposed to be here 30 minutes ago. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing?
And them kids know to stand their asses on that line,
Right.
on that
Good
wall, and wait for her to get. That shit is crazy. So last thing with the student teacher thing, did y'all see the coach at Klein Oak? The golf coach.
Oh, I saw that.
The kid was charging to try to attack another kid. All he did was step in and say, "Hey, chill." He bulldozed him, and he fell and hit his head, knocked unconscious. Knocked unconscious. Rushed him to the hospital. Workman's comp. But they Klein Oak filed them charges like 5 minutes later. Because you know the demographics of Klein Oak. It ain't a lot of us. It's a lot of us, but there ain't a lot of us in comparison to the rest. And those felony charges were filed and announced with the quickness. So in that video, when I made a TikTok video about that situation, the little kid friends were in the comment section being respectful but reckless. Like, I think it's so scary the way that they think. Their logic was it was an accident. He wasn't trying to hurt the coach. He was trying to hurt the kid. So y'all got to stop talking about him. And we're like, it's other adults I stopped talking because I'm like, I can't reason with people. Like, I just can't do that. But these kids, because it goes back to what we always talk about with the lack of consequences that we've been giving them, showing so much grace lately, they feel like, well, at school I don't get in trouble. Why it's not triggering to them that, baby, this is welcome to the real world. Like, you're gonna get a big boy consequence now. And it doesn't matter if you meant to do it with intent or without intent, it happened. You did it. And so your actions resulted in somebody's serious injury, and now you got to eat that shit. And in their minds, they can't fathom, well, I didn't mean to. I was trying to attack the kid. Well, shit, the same thing was going to happen to the kid had you attacked them. But when they knocked them out, they kept going. Like, they see red when they ready to fight. And it's nothing grown. This is a grown-ass man, PE coach, golf coach, and was just trying to say, hey, chill out. And that happened. And then you had other kids like, well, ain't nobody told him to step in between. What? What do y'all want us to do?
You do your job. You do whatever you're working. I mean, you do your career. If you like it, you like it. And you get a chance to make an emotional decision just like out in life, you make it. And if it happens, hopefully you don't mess up.
If that's an expectation, it needs to be in that little job description that's on the
with more money.
The human resources when you're reading what your expectations are to lift 60 pounds or more,
Right.
break up fights that might cause injury, and you will not be compensated.
at all.
In the description.
Yeah, I think it goes to the district level too, because on the adult side, but as well as on the student side, because sometimes you witness fights that are the exact same as another fight, but the punishment depends on the charges. So if a parent decides to press charges, you have to go to JJ. If a parent doesn't do anything about it, you go to ISS. Sometimes you go nowhere. And then when it comes to adults stepping in, I have witnessed and broken up a fight before, but my coworker right next to me, she physically tapped the students and then backed up. And when I asked about it later, she said, well, in my previous school district, they trained us not to get a part of fights, so I just tried to call someone else. And so I think it comes down to, at the district level, training in terms of what happens for the students and being the same across the board, but in the same respect for the adults. Like, what is your expectation? And when you set that expectation, what goes along with it? Okay, we don't break up fights. When there's charges, it doesn't fall on us. Okay, we do break up fights. When I break my wrist, that falls on you. Like, what is the expectation across the board? Because for the same fight to happen twice, one student is gone for 6 months, one student is gone for 2 days, don't really add up to me.
At the beginning of the school year, when we're talking about expectations and what we need to do in the hallway, and what happens if there is an intruder, what happens if there's a tornado or whatever, what needs to happen if there's a fight. I think it needs to, because it's happening. It's happening.
Yeah.
It's not
Do you think that legal is responsible for not putting those things in writing?
probably.
I think it has something to do with that. Like, if we don't speak on it, it doesn't exist. Because what do you mean fight? Why would we need to put that in our handbook? Because those things don't happen here. It's Disneyland. Like, those
Well,
things don't
because
happen
they
here.
want to be able to ask you later, well, why didn't you do this and why didn't you do that?
The
So
whole
if I
policy
put it in policy, you're gonna have to adjust a lot of things, including my pay. And
girl.
in the midst of all of that, it goes back to what we said earlier. Nobody knows how to take accountability. They rather opt out. They rather opt out of it and just put it on the next man. Affleck, short-term disability, workers'
Right.
comp, whatever
Right.
you got. Or why wasn't you at your post? And why wasn't this? And why wasn't that? But if we are writing up children and y'all putting them in the office and lecturing them like it's Sunday morning,
Shade.
what are we getting accomplished? What are we getting accomplished? Because at some point, something has to be done and said for
Yeah.
everybody across the board,
Yeah.
so that when students come in the building, they know this expectation. We're all holding you to this expectation because they're holding us to this expectation.
Yeah. They're in that video, the news report that talks about this coach, they interviewed these two parents, this husband and wife, and the husband said, I can't believe that this happened here. This doesn't happen at our school. And it took me back to a lot of the conversations and debate that goes on social media with what happens in the burbs versus what happens in Title I schools. I hate when they say Title I. I always feel like Title I is like a dog whistle. Like, y'all be really low-key trying to say black, brown, and poor. And then
That money.
but then what happens with private schools? So people seem to think that shit is sweet on one side and it's not on the other. And I'm trying to say, like, nah, it's the same. So I had a student that reached out to me from this very school, and she messaged me, inboxed me, and was like, can you please talk about this? And so, without reading her email in complete detail, but she said people want to make this like a race issue, like it's just the black kids that are cutting up at our school, but no, it's everybody. Like, they're selling drugs, they're having sex, they're doing all these things on campus, and that's not going to the media. But what is going to the media is, when the black kids act a certain way. And I'm sure we all know, we've all taught in very diverse areas around town. It is always us. I'm so sick of us sometimes. It's always us that get blasted, but we know very well that them other people cutting up too. And sometimes their cut up is on a whole different, higher scale than just the violence that's shown.
I talk about that with my kids often, and it's one of the things, though, culturally, we're just a louder group of people. When we fantastic, we loud and fantastic. When we trauma, we loud with our trauma. When we, whatever it is, we're just that's just a cultural expression of brown people, not that they're not doing anything different. It's just that when we get in trouble, sometimes we almost like a look at me, I'm getting in trouble.
Yeah.
Them other kids are doing the same stuff. That's why I ride them just as hard.
Yeah.
But they kind of sneaky, low. They have learned to, hey, we just be quiet about our stuff. Let's go under the radar and go ahead and attack it versus.
Okay, so prior to coming to education, I was a media liaison for a university in the Trey. However, if anything happened regarding just in general the Houston area, like just regarding it would say near this university, X, Y, and Z took place, and we would get so much negative commentary because we were the HBCU of the neighborhood.
So I'm gonna say it because you don't want to say it. It was always, this must have happened at TSU and
No,
never happened
near TSU. Why is it near TSU and we're on the other side of Cleburne? How is that possible?
And why is it not? Why did this happen at you? How could it not been U of H?
How is this near TSU and this at Cullen Oaks? How?
Whoa.
Just I'm just saying. But when you spoke on what's being publicized and was not being publicized, it's almost like you got this guardian media angel who gonna shine you in a different light.
Well, I heard a guy say people think, and there's a lot of people think black people are inherently bad. So when something bad happens to you, that's what you get. And that other people are inherently good. So when something bad happens to them, if something bad happens to somebody that's good, that's why when you see someone who's killed their family if they look a certain way, they'll show the person that killed their family on the picture with their family, standing right next to him. He had a mental disability or a mental issue. Or you see a young lady, I think it was in Chicago, and the news media had to send an editorial repeal or whatever because when she was murdered, they showed her standing in her mirror with a fake gun, but it's her phone case. Now they have 1,000 pictures of this young lady on social media graduating or doing something positive, but that's how all of us or a lot of us are trained to see. Like, oh, that's what they get. There they go again. Like if you see people have breakdowns in stores, there's a woman who had a breakdown in Victoria's Secret.
Oh my God.
And when she had this breakdown, people were going to her going, are you okay? What can we do? How can we console you? How can we make you feel better for acting out? And the woman who was getting talked to negatively and all this stuff, who was recording to protect herself, if that was her, they would have arrested her in 5 seconds. So that is the how the community and people see certain things. So
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Because why would I publicize something bad happening in my area and I don't want y'all to know about it?
Absolutely.
Especially up there.
But where does the change start?
That's a good question.
When old people die and those mentalities leave and we all mixed.
I don't think so because I think that the
Absolutely.
parents at home
I don't know. I don't know when it changes.
are teaching these kids that if somebody talks to you crazy, regardless of whether it's a teacher or another student or administrator, you buck back at them.
Oh, that's something different.
Not
That's
even
home
so much
raising.
talk to you crazy. If somebody challenges your thoughts, like you know, like you saying talk to you crazy, because if I tell you no, then you gonna act a complete fool.
If you don't get your way, get your way. Basically, is what. And then parents coming up to school fighting kids.
Fighting kids
My
and fighting
parent-
teachers.
My parents never believed what I said. They would say, they would ask me 30 times.
But it's
Well,
opposite now.
Yeah, I mean,
I
well,
get phone calls all day saying
it's parents
this
that-
teacher gave my kid a 0, but didn't give my kid a chance. I go speak to the teacher, look at the grade book. Well, ma'am, did you look at the grade book? Did you check Skyward? Did you talk to the teacher? No. You just believe in what your kid is saying? I mean, it doesn't make sense.
And I think it goes back to some of that privilege and entitlement. I remember a few years ago, you were telling us about this kid that your words were reeked of privilege.
She talking to
There's
you.
so many of
And
There's so
I'm
many of
gonna write their name down on this paper right here because soon after you said that, I had an encounter with said kid, and I was like, "Yo, your parents have led you to believe for so long that you run shit." And I think a lot of kids, especially, I think that's the issue with teaching in diverse areas too, is that when some of these kids who have never had a black teacher before, and when I first came into one district, some of these kids, it was their first time ever having a black teacher. And they don't know, it's like you're the help and you're trying to tell them what to do. And so when they come at you and you come back like you would normally come back, it's like, and so now you got this 4-page letter email in your box from their parents because how dare
What's funny
you?
is that kid mama in education.
Oh, for
Isn't
real,
it? It's
did not know.
always.
So you really are the help.
I am the it always is. So that's crazy. All right, so y'all, this is the time of the show where I do this thing called Flowers. And Flowers is when I tell people that are super close to me, people that have come on to the show, how important they are to me and how impactful they have been on my journey of education. But y'all know I am not a mushy bitch. So don't y'all think that that's what y'all
Yes,
get out
you
of
are.
looking
Look
forward to
at
it. Like, I wish y'all could see how all of them set up like little roosters, like, oh shit, she better be, nah, put your
at
phone
her.
up. No.
Look at her.
And look, she wants to hug. Like, y'all, I do not like when they touch me. Right? They always want to hug and shit. Like,
I always
One thing you gonna do is hug me.
ugh,
You gonna hug
don't
me.
touch me. But without telling y'all individually like how important y'all are. First of all, the reason why I have not quit yet, because coming to work every day and working with y'all past and present has been a joy. Some days I'm really sick, I'm really dog tired. I'm like, nah, because them two gonna go get lunch without me, or this one gonna have some tea she wanna share with me, or this one gonna FaceTime me with one of my old students. Like, I can't miss it. Like, I gotta be there. And so I think that's important to teaching right now, because how are we holding on to our sanity? And it's not the kids, it's not the parents, it's each
Not
other.
the pay.
Not the pay, for sure ain't the pay. So
At
I
all.
think it's each other. So I am so grateful to each and every one of y'all. We have celebrated some some highs in each other's lives. We celebrated some lows. Y'all know I wasn't mushy, but y'all were just extremely, even though y'all knew I wasn't mushy, y'all was just trying to super be there for me when my father passed away. And I'm like, y'all were in there. Y'all stepped in, like, let me get the kid to practice. Let me get the kids home. Who got dinner this night? Who got this? So things like that, when people say you don't make friends at work, I have to disagree, because I have made, like, y'all are my family. We are together for hearts. We are together for everything. It's not a function that y'all don't come to, except that time when this one missed my birthday, and because he was asleep, he was down the street. He lived down the street.
And we had a funky good time.
And we had a funky good time. We always have a good time. You always have it even better.
I have a great time.
Like, how the hell you be having more
Somehow
fun?
her time is
better than the damn
everybody
birthday.
Happy birthday to everybody.
Every gathering I have, this bitch get more fun, have more fun than I do.
Yes, God is great.
But anyway, so I appreciate y'all. Y'all have been so supportive on my social media influencer journey. Even though, y'all gotta sometimes keep your distance away from me, because I don't want y'all to lose y'all job when I lose mine, because I know it's about this close. I'm about this close. For them people being like, pack it up, bitch. Get up out of here, because you're doing too much. But I'm grateful for y'all. I appreciate y'all so much. That's all y'all gonna get. So stop looking at me like y'all physically get
hold on, you was almost to
I thought I
come
was
on
gonna get into
I was almost to what?
to a Whitney Houston song. Let's go.
Bitch, please. Anyway,
No?
y'all, let's go to shout outs now. Ain't no Whitney Houston. What the hell you
I
talking
thought you
about?
was gonna sing "I Believe in You and Me."
I believe in you.
There it is.
All right, let's go to shout outs. Guys, don't forget that if you have a teacher bestie that you want to shout out, please DM me at Ridgemont_Forest_ and on Instagram. But let's get through these shout outs today. So we got to shout out some of the best in the Midwest Chicago public schools to do it. We got Miss Markina Williams, Lillian Cass, Carlitha Beckton, Zavia Freeman. And then a special shout out to one of the best APs ever, Miss Tiffany Williams, from your bestie, Jolene. And shouting out to Miss Jennifer Harper. Who is Jennifer Harper? Who is that?
They saw the post I posted about the show, and they said, make sure she shouts out to me. She's an avid follower.
Look at you about to get somebody's phone number.
Not at all.
Get somebody's phone number.
Not at all. I am good on
Shout
any
out
phone
to
numbers.
Miss Jennifer Harper. I appreciate you being a fan. Again, thanks again to Steel Kitchen, Culinary Yoke Steel Kitchen down in Stafford, Texas, for sponsoring today's Brunching Pod. The food was amazing. Them chicken wings were good.
That fish was amazing.
The fish was good. You put the sauce on did you have the French toast?
It was the
This
French
one
toast
here.
for me. It was the French toast for
She
me.
begged for the French toast. I was like, I don't eat
You
no
can eat
damn
that French toast plain. You don't need to put nothing on it.
Well, good.
The
I'm
sauce
glad.
elevates it as well.
Was it a
Ooh,
bourbon? It was a
look at
bourbon
sauce.
glaze. So for lunch today, I'm about to probably go back there and get dinner. But he has honey glazed ribs, mac, cabbage. But anyway, I'm going for the Henny peach cobbler. So that's what I'm going for. So down in Stafford, Texas Steel Kitchen. So shout out to Chef Jay. We appreciate you. Chef Jay is also sponsoring our one of our events that we're gonna have at the end of the school year too. So,
Praise
Chef
God.
Jay.
Big shouts out to Chef Jay.
Please tell me the day so I can stop on.
Trainer.
yeah, you
stay where
trainer. You
are.
left us. You don't get to come in. Again, guys, please share my podcast with your friends, with your teacher friends. We are now on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and other
Turn
platforms.
up.
We're trying to do things. So I guess we better try to go home and do some lesson plans. Y'all be still lesson planning anyway?
She's so funny.
Always lesson
Always
plans
lesson planning.
with
Remember, you got to do 2 lesson plans.
Am I even coming to work tomorrow? That's the question.
Question. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in, and we will see y'all next week.
Yeah.
This podcast was made possible by producer extraordinaire D. Francis at the legendary Lab 7 Studios in Mo City, Texas.